Hello everybody, my name's Camo and welcome back to another devlog here on my latest indie game venture. A super minimalistic base building, farming, resource management game where you've got to build an empire of mystical plants high up in the mountains in some magical world. Now this past week has been absolutely straight from hell. Seriously. I ended up having to rewrite basically everything I've done so far in the past 2 weeks of game development and everything we did in the last devlog. It's been really bad, and there were so many bugs in my code that I left completely unnoticed and thought I'd fix later, but they ended up coming back to bite me, and I just had to get them over with. Most of my week ended up looking like this. And now that I've spent many hours trying to work out these bugs, hopefully it's fixed. Why don't you work? Oh my god, this should work. It should work, but it doesn't. This should be generating plants, and now the terrain doesn't even work. Oh my god. That was it. I hate this. So yeah, in short, it's not been a lot of fun. But hopefully now that stuff is over and I've got a really solid system for adding new content to the game, which means that we can now get to the fun part of development, which is actually building the game and adding features in that I've really wanted to add for quite a while now. So without any further ado, let's hop straight into it. And on the to-do list for today, we have foreground parallax layer. Sounds easy enough. And with that system all done and dusted, you can see I added a lot more than just a foreground layer. I actually changed the way the entire parallax in the background moves because I realized, and I don't know how I didn't realize this earlier, but it was completely wrong. Instead of the mountains in the back being the slowest to move and staying in frame for the longest, like you would if you were driving past mountains, say in a car or something, the ones furthest away would be the ones that stick there the most, and the trees like in the foreground and stuff would move the fastest. I actually had it so the background mountains would move away the fastest and the foreground would stay the closest to you for the longest. Don't know how I didn't realize that sooner, but now it's all fixed, and even with zooming and whatnot and moving up and down, it still looks pretty good. I quite like this effect. I also added some little settings in so that you can change in the options menu if you want to invert your scroll direction and have smooth camera movement. Smooth camera movement looks really bad, but yeah, I don't like it whatsoever, but you know, in case someone wants it, who knows, it's there. And you can also invert the scroll direction, which for some people who have those funky mouses that the scroll wheels are like backwards, I guess it's a good option to have as well. And coming back to our cello board, we can now cross foreground parallax layer off the list and move on to the second thing, which is randomly generated clouds that blow in the wind. Let's crack on with it. And with that, we now have the cloud system all set up with various layers of parallax going back to give it a really nice depth effect as you move the camera around. I've also made it so that they work with the zooming, see like that, and up and down. So there's quite a big area where clouds generate. I've also added a ton of functionality for it, so on the fly you can change the amount of clouds, the height of them, the speed that they're moving at, and you can even make them move backwards if you want. So hopefully that'll allow me to make a lot of functionality with the clouds later on in the game. I'm thinking of having windmills and stuff, and maybe wind-powered things, and the clouds would be a nice feature to go alongside with those. But for the most part, it's just an aesthetic effect. And while I was working on the clouds, I also added a feature for a low pass filter, sort of muting the background music when you open up a menu, just like this. I got the idea from Forza Horizon, because I know when you open the menu there, it mutes the background music, or not mutes it, but like pulls it down with a low pass filter, and I think it gives it a really nice effect, especially with the blurred background as well. Alrighty, and with that now checked off the to-do list, all that's left to do for the day is add some randomization to the plants and add a tint to the middle ground so that everything is affected by the time of day color. Sounds pretty simple. I'll get right to it and come back when it's done. And after just a few minutes programming, that system is now done and dusted. You can see the trees have been given random rotations based on the type they are, so say the base is here, but the branches only rotate a little bit, whereas the leaves can rotate full 360 degrees. And I've also added this overlay tint to really efficiently give everything in the scene a little bit of a tint, and you can see it's going to be sunset now, so everything's going to turn just a slight bit orange. As you can see if you look closely at the leaves and the grass, very slightly orange, including the clouds, which is really nice. I like the reflections that they give. And you're also probably wondering why some of these trees are floating like this, and that's because the game, as you can see when I'm hovering over this, it highlights that tile there. And it's because at the moment I don't actually have a system in place for properly swapping tiles to be half like this, so it can't tell the difference whether a piece of grass looks like this with the full tile, or whether it looks like this with a half tile, or if it's one of those like tiny ones like this. So that there is like that there if that was a full tile, if that makes any sense. It is on the to-do list and it will be done eventually, but it's not the highest priority at the moment because I know the system works and it just has to be a proof of concept for the time being. But anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the support I've gotten on the last couple of videos. It's really great to see you guys getting on board with this game and getting excited for it just like I am. But I want to keep these videos a little bit shorter now, so I'm going to cut it here at around the 6 or 7 minute mark I think it is, because I find it makes a much nicer video when it's just a little shorter like this. So if you guys did like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and if you really loved it, maybe even consider subscribing. But anyway guys, this has been Camo, and I'll see you in the next devlog. Peace.